Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. Every week we showcase animals that are available for adoption through the Frederick County Division of Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I'm Linda Shea. With me is Randy Cooper. And today is the first day of spring, even though it's snowing. And today is also pretty representative of the way the next few months will be. We've only got one dog that we're going to take a look at, and we've got 8 cats, and we've got a turtle. So we're going to start off with our only dog on this week's Pet Pal show, and this is Ruger. Ruger is a Dalmatian pit mix. He is about 5 years old, was turned in by an owner. They could no longer keep him or take care of him. And according to his previous owners, Ruger has never been vetted. So upon arrival at the shelter, we made sure he got everything he needs. We went ahead and did the vaccines and deworming preventatives that he needs. He will be neutered prior to leaving here. So one of the questions that comes up pretty frequently is, do dogs or cats or bunnies reach an age where they can no longer be altered? And that's case by case. At 5 years old in good health, Ruger will certainly be neutered prior to leaving here, and that is the shelter's contribution to eliminating or at least reducing the number of unwanted pets in the community. Ruger's about 60 pounds, which is kind of deceptive, and as Randy's finding out, he's what we refer to as a leaner. A lot of dogs kind of might be a little standoffish at first, and then when they find out you're okay, they kind of lean against you. So that's, I find that pretty endearing. He is pretty much, has good manners. He's not very vocal. We do color code our dogs. We behavior assess our dogs. So if you're looking to add a dog to your family, you want to make sure you take a look at that behavior assessment, and certainly staff and volunteers are always happy to answer questions in reference to that. But this is Ruger, about 5 years old. He does qualify for an adoption discount. So instead of the $92.50, his adoption fee would be $72.50. Again, this is Ruger looking for a forever home. So this little girl is Daffodil, and she is one of the first kittens that we're seeing at kitten season. She was turned in by an owner recently, but she was born around the end of October, so that puts her at about 4 to 5 months of age. And again, prior to leaving here, all of our dogs, cats, kittens, puppies, and bunnies are spayed or neutered. So that again is our contribution to avoid having additional kittens or unwanted population of animals. Daffodil, again, is about 4 to 5 months old, was never vetted, so we went ahead and gave her any vaccines that she needs, deworming prevention, flea prevention. We do also test all of our felines in the shelter for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus, and that, you'll hear me say over and over again, that's important to know. If you have an existing cat in your family already, you want to know the status of those viruses for any incoming cats. It's also a good idea to talk to your veterinarian. Your cats, dogs, bunnies should be seeing your veterinarian at least once a year just for a nose to tail exam, just to make sure that everything's in working order. And you want to make sure you pay attention to the vet recommendations for blood work as your animal gets older or any other additional testing. But it's important to note leukemia. The test for leukemia can test negative on day 1, but can become positive day 30 through 90. So we do recommend at your vet's follow-up recommendation, if there's an issue with a kitten or cat that you adopt, you want to make sure that you talk to your vet, that you get it to a vet exam within a week or so of adoption, and then give some consideration to retesting for leukemia, especially if your cat develops a cold and it just seems to be recurrent, if they're losing weight, if there's anything else going on. So again, we document that. Everything that we do to an animal is documented heavily. We've got a medical form, we've got a spay-neuter form. We have behavior assessments for our dogs, and of course, if animals are turned in by owners, we have a profile giving you some history prior to their stay at the shelter. So again, this is Daffodil. She's one of quite a number of kittens on the floor at the moment. So if you have been patiently waiting through the winter months for a kitten, now would be a good time to start looking at the shelter. This little girl is the sibling to Daffodil. This is Lilac, and she is also same age, litter mate. The good thing about these kittens, they are very social. They're very friendly. The previous owners did the right thing by turning them in here. The shelter should be a last resort. No animal should actually be here. However, we are last resort for folks that have animals they just can't keep. In bringing an animal here to the shelter, if you're a resident of Frederick County, you know that they're going to get the proper medical attention. You know that we do everything we can to either place animals for adoption or get them to rescue, or put them in foster homes if they need temporary housing when we can. Now, when we get into mid-June and July, our foster care homes fill up pretty quickly. So if you've ever considered temporarily housing an animal for, a month or so, or during a time when it needs to grow up, get big enough, strong enough to get adopted, please consider becoming a foster care provider. The process is very simple. There's an application. We do a home visit just so we can talk to you without the interruptions of getting paged and phone calls and things that go on at the shelter. But it's very rewarding, and you can be responsible for helping to socialize kittens and to get them ready for their forever homes. But Lilac, again, is Daffodil's sibling. And they did have a mom, which is a good thing because mama cats are probably the one species that's kind of underrated. Mama cats do a lot of socializing with their kittens. They teach them bite inhibition. They teach them how to use a litter box. So these guys came from they had a good start. They had their mom to train them. So you can see the result. They're very social, friendly, easygoing with people, and available on our adoption floor. So again, this is Lilac, just one of quite a number of kittens available for adoption. This little girl is Tulip. She is the third of the three little sisters that we're showing today. Again, 4 to 5 months old, came from the same family that Daffodil and Lilac did. And in case you're curious, when animals do not come in with names, we go ahead and name them, and that's done by staff and volunteers, and sometimes we keep a running list. So we thought because it's spring and because there's some flowers that are going to appear shortly, we would name them after flowers. Tulip is about 4 pounds, 7.5 ounces, so she's sort of right in there. A lot of times with kittens, they weigh usually 1 pound per month of age. So at 4.5 pounds, that makes her about 4.5 months old, which is accurate considering the owners told us when she was born. Again, she's gotten the same medical care that her sisters have with vaccines, preventatives, flea prevention, deworming, SNAP testing. The reason we call it SNAP testing for feline leukemia and FIV, it's just the sound that the test makes when you snap it down to mix the conjugate with the animal's sample. But Tulip is available for adoption. Again, she will be spayed before leaving here. All of the animals that leave here also adopted are microchipped, which is really important in case an animal gets away from an owner, escapes by accident. The microchip allows us, if they show up here at Animal Control, to reunite an owner with its pet. Also, if you take a stray animal to any of the vet clinics, they all have microchip scanners, and that's another way that an animal can get reunited with their family. And in case you haven't noticed, a lot of times what we see with kittens, and Daffodil, Lilac, and Tulip are an example, kittens don't usually come in on their own. They don't come in by themselves. Oftentimes mama cats have more than one kitten. So while dogs often arrive here just one at a time, cats and kittens, especially during kitten season, show up by the box full, by the crate full. So there's always plenty to go around. So again, if you have an adult cat and you are running a risk of them creating kittens, you want to make sure you contact us for low-cost spay-neuter information. It's really important. We have more than enough kittens than we can handle throughout the summertime. So if you're interested in adding one to your family, come to the shelter. If you have an intact animal at home, contact us for spay-neuter information. This handsome guy is Riley. He's a boy. He's about 6 to 7 months old. Was also turned in by an owner because they had too many cats at the moment. So you want to make sure, again, that if you run into a situation where you have too many cats, more than you can handle, contact us. At least make a phone call for information and discuss some of the options. Even if you choose to rehome cats, if you need information on spaying and neutering the ones that you have to eliminate the risk of them creating more kittens, we can help you with that information. Riley is a little, you can tell, he's very active, about 6 to 7 months old. He's a big guy. It's deceptive also. He's about 8 pounds, 10.5 ounces. We've done the same things for him that we did for the girls that we took a look at with vaccinating, deworming, preventions, flea prevention, and snap testing. Let's see, I guess he started out, the people that brought him here as owned had him for a while, but they originally found him as a stray. Excuse me. So again, if you find a stray, you can give us a phone call to see if we have a found report or a lost report for somebody who might be looking for their pet. And then, of course, you want to bring an animal here. If you do find a stray, we do prefer that you bring stray animals to us, which may sound counterintuitive, but we are the only shelter in Frederick County. We're the one place that people come to look for their pets, that call in to look for their pets, and we can provide medical care for animals that need that type of care, especially if they've been injured or have any illness. So again, this is Riley. He is looking for a forever home, and he's just one of several kittens on the adoption floor. So we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at 4 more of our little cats and a red-eared slider.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Do you know the top risk factors for breast cancer? Number 1, being a woman. Number 2, getting older. So, if you are a woman and 40 or older, you should be screened for breast cancer. Talk to your healthcare provider today about getting screened with a clinical breast exam and mammogram. Doing this regularly is important, as early detection can save lives. For more information, contact the Frederick County Health Department's Breast and Cervical Cancer Screening Program at 301-600-3362 or visit our website at frederickcountymd.gov/cancer prevention.
Transit services of Frederick County. With rising gas prices, transit is a less expensive way to work or school. Most commuter bus routes run every 30 minutes during weekday morning and afternoon rush hours. Bus stops are within a quarter mile of most businesses in downtown Frederick. Transit offers shuttles to Thurmont, Emmitsburg, Brunswick, Jefferson, Spring Ridge, and Route 85, or take a shuttle to the MARC train for an easy commute. Find out what nearly 1 million passengers already know. Transit connects people and places.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. We're going to take a look now at some of our cats and a turtle that are in need of forever homes. First, I would say little girl, but she's not a little girl. This is Ellie Mae. She is very sweet, very affectionate, very agreeable to sitting on a lap. And her background story is that she had a very loving owner, and the owner ended up going into assisted living, and the family could not take care of Ellie Mae. Ellie Mae, if you're trying to guess, is overweight. She needs food that is measured out. If you're looking to adopt a larger cat like this, she really does need to lose a few pounds. Just like in humans, you know, overweight puts too much pressure on their joints, on their back. It's not good for their heart, their overall structure. So Ellie Mae weighs 20 pounds, 15.5 ounces. She really does need to lose at least, I would say at least 3 pounds. I didn't read to see if the vet has any recommendations, but you know, at least 3 pounds, and that needs to be done slowly. You can't starve animals. You need to measure their food and just maintain, you know, she may cry if she wants more food, but it's her best interest to lose some of that excess weight. So her family member brought her here. They just could not take care of her. Ellie Mae is only about 3 years old. She has a birth date of April 15th, 2011, so she's really young. She's already spayed, which is a great thing. Prior to leaving here, she will be microchipped. We've already brought her up to speed on vaccines. She's actually been at the shelter since mid-February, so only about 3 weeks, and she is a gorgeous color. She's a tortoiseshell, which is the blended black and orange colors, and that she's got just that very solid black color to her with white. Again, over 20 pounds, and there's not a lot else on her intake information. She did have vet care prior to coming here. And she's not lived with any other pets, so she's been it looks like the focus of her owner's attention in a lot of ways. But again, if you're going to adopt her, she's very sweet, very affectionate, but will need some assistance with losing some of that excess weight. So we encourage you, when you come to the shelter, you want to visit with Ellie Mae. This very handsome young guy is named Cake. He is about a year old. He's a domestic medium hair. He's got that gorgeous brown tabby coat with white markings. And he's a little over 9 pounds. So at a year old, he's probably just about as filled out as he's going to be. At the shelter here, we went ahead and neutered him. We do that a lot of times, especially with boy cats during the spring and summer months when we have a lot of male cats on our adoption floor. If you come to visit the shelter, you can tell. So we go ahead and neuter them to kind of reduce that aroma that the male cats can kind of give off. And additionally, he is very adoptable, so we know that having him neutered, having him microchipped makes for his adoption to go a little bit more quick, so we don't have to wait to have those things done. If some of you are wondering, last year we took in over 3,000 cats and kittens, and unfortunately we were not able to find homes for all of them, but we do work with rescue organizations that help us out tremendously, especially during the spring and summer. So we're always appreciative of those registered, approved rescue organizations that are helping us. And it is a community effort. So again, if you have cats, kittens in your possession that are still intact, that are making more kittens, you want to contact us. The 3,000 number is overwhelming, and that's just for Frederick County. If you look at the surrounding counties, they have the same problem, and it is a problem. It becomes a problem when you've got that many cats and kittens and you can't find homes for them. So we encourage you to do the right thing, get your cats, kittens spayed and neutered. Call us for information. And certainly as a last resort, relinquish them to the shelter. And if they are adoptable, we go ahead and we kind of get the ball rolling as far as getting them altered, microchip, vaccinated, and ready for their new homes. But this is Cake. He is color-coded blue, and you can see his disposition and why that is. He's very agreeable to being just a lap cat, very calm, which is a compliment considering his age. I would expect him to be a little more rambunctious, but this is Cake, so I would encourage you, if you're looking for a calm domestic long hair, he would be a good choice. This is Pinkie. Pinkie's only been here about a week, and she is one of our more senior cats. We've got her down as about 8 years old. The owners had her for her entire life. She is a little bit shy. We've got her color-coded as orange. So the blue cats on our adoption floor are typically the ones that are right up at the front of the cage. They meet and greet people. They talk to people. Green cats are a little more shy, and then Pinkie's somewhere in the middle. She's about 14 pounds, 13 ounces, so almost 15 pounds. Another cat similar to Ellie Mae that's overweight, that would do best with measuring her food, making sure that she's able to roam around the house, not to confine her. And again, but a lot of times it's difficult, especially with indoor cats, to assist them in losing weight. So measuring her food, getting her on a good quality of food, and talking to your veterinarian. Again, I can't stress that enough. Even though an animal comes from our shelter and is fairly much fully vetted initially, it's really important that within a week of adoption, contact a veterinarian. with your adoption from the shelter, you are entitled to a free vet exam. We have a list of over 45 veterinarians in the community that partner with us. They help us. They help our shelter animals by offering a free exam. So if you don't already have a vet in the community, you want to make sure that we give you that list and that you take advantage of that free exam. It allows your veterinarian to get a benchmark of your animal's health. It allows your veterinarian to develop a rapport with you, to make suggestions, and then to follow up. So at least once a year, you want to make sure that your animal gets to the vet just for a nose-to-tail exam at least, just to make sure everything's in working order. But Pinkie is here, and she was turned in. The two top reasons animals are turned into the shelter is when people have animals and they move, and they choose to not take the animal with them, or they develop allergies. And in the case of Pinkie, her family was moving. So if you're looking for an older cat, if you're looking for a sweet little girl, this is Pinkie. This handsome boy is Quinn, and he's the only stray animal on our show today. Everybody else has been turned in by previous owners, but Quinn came to us on March 13th from Horn Road in Jefferson. So if you're missing an animal, there's a few things that you need to do. You want to contact Animal Control immediately. Our phone number is 301-600-1546, or if it's after hours, 1544. So call us first. And then, as soon as we open to the public, you want to make sure that you come here to look through the shelter. We'll escort you all over the building to see if your animal is here. But it's really important that you at least call in a lost report, that you visit the shelter to look for your animal, because again, your description of your animal may be different than what we have here. Quinn is a domestic medium hair. He's orange tabby with a little bit of white on his chest, and you can tell his demeanor is wonderful. He is affectionate, he is loving, he is friendly, he's social, and he's only about a year and a half of age. With strays, of course, we don't have background information, so we take a best guesstimate at their age, looking at their teeth, looking at their body condition. We have done for Quinn what we do for all of our other cats. We've done the preventatives of vaccines and deworming and flea prevention, and also have tested him, and he's tested negative for leukemia and FIV. He's an absolute gorgeous cat. He's about 9 pounds, and prior to leaving here, we will go ahead and have him neutered, have him microchipped. We do go ahead, there's a process when we get strays in at the shelter. We look through all the lost reports that people might have provided to us. We go ahead and scan the animals for microchips, even if they don't arrive here alive. We still go ahead and scan, we still go ahead and check lost reports. But again, it's an obligation on an owner's part, if you're missing a pet, to check with us. So in the meantime, Quinn is here looking for an adoptive family. If you're looking for a cat that requires some brushing, but that also requires a nice warm lap, Quinn would be a good choice. So when we tell you that we are an open admission shelter, what that means is that we take in any animal from within Frederick County perimeter that needs us, and that includes turtles. Pearl was turned in by her owner, and according to the owner, they're saying that they were allergic to the turtle, and that also the cat was trying to get into her cage. So Pearl is about 6 years old. She is a girl, and she started off from a pet store in New York City, and then ended up with her owners here in Frederick. So turtles are an exotic animal. They require just as much, if not more, care than dogs and cats. With this type of turtle, they require an aquarium. They need to have access to water, but they also need to have rocks to get out of the water, or their shells can suffer. If you just imagine being submerged in water, you know how wrinkled our skin gets. Same thing happens, even though the turtle shell is harder than our skin, can still suffer some damage. So Pearl came into us with a little bit of an issue with her shell. What we are doing now for her, similar to what we do for cats, dogs, bunnies, and all other animals, she came in with an upper respiratory infection, and yes, turtles can get those things as well, which is why it's important, if you have an exotic animal in your life, probably more important that you have a relationship with a veterinarian that can help you in case your animal gets sick. So what we're doing for Pearl, she does get an antibiotic injection in her back leg on a time designated by the veterinarian. So when animals come to the shelter, you can be assured that we provide any vet care that we are able to when possible. If it is something that is beyond the scope of what we can do here at the shelter, because our veterinarian is part-time, we do work with the vets in the community, and we are always appreciative of the veterinarians in the Frederick community that help us out, that look at our animals. A lot of times it's at a drop of a hat notice or an emergency situation. So again, just a big thank you to our vets in the area. But with Pearl at the moment, we're able to manage her in-house. She does have an appropriate setup. If you've never had a turtle before and you're interested in acquiring one as a pet, talk to us. You want to make sure that you are committed to this animal for its whole entire life and that you are able to provide it the kind of care that it needs. And on another note, if you are interested in adopting a turtle, check out our shelter, check out local shelters, check out some of the rescue organizations. So many people acquire these guys from pet stores, and then as you can tell with just Pearl's just one example of, I think, 5 turtles in the past month just here at Frederick County Division of Animal Control that have started off from somewhere else and ended up at the shelter. So Pearl is here looking for a forever home. We are more than happy to provide any information that you need to make it a successful adoption. And I encourage you to visit the shelter when you get a chance if you're looking for a turtle, a cat, dog, or bunny. We have all of those here at the shelter at the moment. And that wraps it up for this week's Pet Pals. As you can tell from this show just alone, it has already begun to be kitten season. So if you've been patiently waiting for a cat or kitten in your life, you want to make sure that you check out the shelter during the next few months. Have a great week, and we will see you next time on Pet Pals.